The Blue Moon Technology Corporation has built Yueon City on the moon and is recruiting the first batch of immigrants. All individuals under the age of 35 are eligible to apply. Please fill out the information carefully, and if approved, our staff will contact you personally. As soon as this news appeared on November 13, 2028, it went viral across the internet. Immigrating to the moon? For real? Wow, they're even getting people to live on the moon now? Why is there an age restriction? I'm 65 this year, and I still feel young. Of course, they need young people to go to the moon for development and construction. At your age, you'll be collecting retirement pensions and dancing in the square, right? Do they provide housing? If they do, I'm ready to immigrate. Who knows what the conditions are? I just got dumped, and I want to go. Initially, people had doubts, but as time passed, more news reports emerged, and the federal government provided criteria for selecting immigrants. It became clear that immigration was indeed real. Team leader Lu Longlong has been in the restroom smoking for almost half an hour. One person reported to the team leader about a worker going to have a break for too long. The team leader's face lit up but showed an angry expression. Damn it, even I don't take breaks that long. It seems like he doesn't want to keep this job. Just then, Lu Longlong returned from the restroom. Lu Longlong, you took so long in the restroom. Do you still want to work here? The team leader said angrily. Lu Longlong glanced at him and coldly snorted. I don't want to work here anymore. You and your lackeys can have fun in this damn place. After saying that, he took off his work uniform and threw it at the team leader. The team leader was dumbfounded. This person usually acted subserviently, so what happened today? Other online workers observed the scene with curiosity, discussing among themselves. Why is Lu Longlong being so stubborn? Who knows? If he quits, his salary might be deducted. Lu Longlong felt a sense of liberation. His once clouded and numb eyes regained clarity, becoming bright and lively. I've been selected. The moon, a fresh start, a completely new frontier, a place where hard work pays off. In his view, Yueon City had enormous potential. Every industry lacked talent, and most importantly, they lacked management. Being among the first to enter, as long as he worked hard, there would always be opportunities for advancement. Unlike on this earth, where a petty team leader in a factory managed a handful of people, and promotion required 10 years of experience. There were many individuals who weren't satisfied with their current situation on Earth and wanted to take a chance on the moon. In just 3 days, the number of applications to immigrate to the moon exceeded 10 million. The authorities in Shadu was continuously reviewing applications and selecting suitable candidates according to a ratio of 6 women to 4 men. 5 days later, the electromagnetic disruption on Earth ended, and the global wireless network was restored. Finally, we can use our phones to go online. I was so bored during the days without the internet, didn't know what to do at work. In the days without a network, I realized that my phone is my second life. Now, I'm fully revived. Hello, I'm chatting with you using my phone. While internet users rejoiced, the authorities in Shadu were quite worried. Will Zhao Yu come? I don't know. Now that the wireless signal is restored, will he force us to connect to the Skynet? Even if he comes, we're not afraid. We have 8 contingency plans. We should be able to get through it. Unexpectedly, Zhao Yu hadn't returned to Earth for several days. It was as if he had forgotten about the Skynet system. This inflicted another blow on the well-prepared Earth Federation. Although the chips from Zhao Yu's transaction hadn't spread throughout the entire network, those who purchased the projection touchwatches were amazed by the excellent signal. Even in desolate areas, the signal remained strong. Moonbase. Commander, the first defense line is complete. Mercury mining base is complete. Uncle De reported the changes in the base during this period. Zhao Yu nodded and finally asked about the resources required for the second defense line. The second defense line has a broader range and requires 88 billion resources. Uncle De shook his head and said, at the current mining rate, it won't be possible to complete the second defense line before the arrival of the extraterrestrial fleet. In that case, don't build it. Starting now, use half of the resources collected for the production of various warships and store the remaining half for backup. Hundreds and thousands of production lines for various warships and combat robots had been expanded, allowing for a massive burst of production when needed. Approaching the time when the extraterrestrial fleet would arrive, Zhao Yu no longer had the inclination to focus on Earth. He devoted all his energy to preparing for battle, spending most of his days simulating space battles with Uncle Dao and others. Besides that, Zhao Yu continuously studied various military texts. Although it was a last-minute effort, it still provided some usefulness. 3 days before the system's warning of the extraterrestrial fleet's arrival, Earth received news. 1 million people prepared to immigrate to the moon have been gathered and can be transported at any time. Upon receiving the news, Zhao Yu personally went to Earth, using dozens of transport ships to take all 1 million people at once. In just 40 minutes, he and the million people arrived at Yuan City. This is Moon Base? It's so futuristic. That spaceport is even bigger than those in sci-fi movies. How magnificent! Oh my, when did we humans build such a big base on the moon? The Earth Federation was well prepared for the resettlement of immigrants, so Zhao Yu didn't need to worry too much. It had been 6 years since Zhao Yu traveled to the moon on December 21st, 2028. Finally, the time indicated by the system for the arrival of the extraterrestrial fleet had come. Hashtag at UN0TY, hashtag 324, hashtag UN0. At asterisk and hashtag UN, dialogue has been translated so Earthlings can read it. The distortion rate has decreased to 3%, Captain Morrow. We are about to exit the wormhole, a crew member reported. The tunnel, narrow in the middle and wide at both ends, was filled with countless glowing dots, intersecting under the influence of some unknown force. Over 100 warships were enveloped in a colorless substance, flowing with the currents and enduring the pressure from the tunnel. They were heading towards a curved mirror-like object. Increase negative mass release. As soon as we exit the wormhole, activate the energy shields, said a humanoid creature with an antenna protruding from its head. Standing at a height of 38 centimeters, this being had a head with a single mouth and 3 eyes, 2 arms and legs, and 6 fingers on its hands. Its pale skin had wrinkles at the joints, and there was no hair on top of its head. Compared to the blue-skinned beings, it looked truly strange. The leader of this group was named Morrow, and they were dispatched by the Glen civilization to annihilate other intelligent civilizations in deep space. The humanoid creatures around Morrow shared similar appearances, but they were generally shorter, averaging around 33 centimeters. Among these beings, Morrow stood tall and powerful, exuding a sense of strength and courage. We're finally here, Morrow sighed with relief. He took out a golden ring from his jacket pocket and wiped it clean with a handkerchief before slowly placing it on top of his antenna. Traveling through a wormhole seemed simple, but it was incredibly dangerous. Any substance with positive energy would be torn apart. Only by releasing negative energy on the surface of the spacecraft could they withstand the forces of the wormhole. I hope intelligent beings exist in NB 1250 galaxy, Morrow murmured. If he could destroy one more intelligent civilization, he would earn the qualification to return to the Mother Star, a paradise he had never been to and whose location was unknown to him. Journeying to the Mother Star was the lifelong wish of all Glen beings and their ultimate destination. For thousands of years, only one fleet had succeeded in obtaining the key to reach the Mother Star, earning the admiration of countless individuals. Moonbase. Commander, we have a situation. Dashu exclaimed. In the control center, Dashu projected a gravity wave detector and pointed at it, saying, "Within the solar system, there's an abnormal gravitational wave." "Where is it?" Zhao Yu asked, feeling a bit anxious. Today was the day the system had predicted, 6 years after his initial time travel, when an extraterrestrial fleet would arrive. Dashu raised his hand and projected a 3-dimensional map of the solar system once again. "It's near Pluto," he said. Zhao Yu widened his eyes and carefully observed the chaotic lines of the gravitational wave. It was different from previous detections, which were usually uniform. He quickly asked, "What's going on with this gravitational wave?" Gravity waves from normal celestial bodies remain stable, with only slight changes occurring when they collide with other celestial bodies, Dashu speculated. This might be a wormhole. As soon as he mentioned it, Zhao Yu looked at the gravitational wave and indeed, the entire pattern formed by the lines resembled a whirlpool, constantly rotating and expanding. Commander, please wait a moment. Deshu closed his eyes and accessed the Earth database with all his might. Pluto was analyzed by scientists in 1840, who predicted its position by analyzing disturbances in Uranus's orbit using Newtonian mechanics. In 1930, it was officially named Pluto and became the 9th largest planet in the solar system. In 2006, it was expelled from the International Astronomical Union due to its inability to clear the region around its orbit. The mass of Earth is 1.7 million times that of all other bodies on its orbit combined, while Pluto is only 7%. In addition, another important reason is that Pluto's center of mass is outside the central body, causing its orbit to be significantly abnormal. Pluto's orbit is highly chaotic, with an inclination of more than 17 degrees compared to the ecliptic plane when compared to the 8 major planets. Moreover, based on mass and orbital calculations, Pluto should have been captured by Neptune and become its moon. However, it remains independent due to gravitational influences of unknown origin. Earth scientists have provided several speculations. One suspects the existence of an unobservable planet X near Neptune, affecting its orbit. Another suggests that Pluto and Neptune have entered a state of superresonance, where gravitational forces are balanced. The third proposes the presence of a wormhole near Pluto. Deshu opened his eyes and continued. Based on the current situation, the abnormal gravitational wave near Pluto suggests that something is about to come through the wormhole from the other side. Zhao Yu felt a chill in his heart. He had imagined countless ways the other side might arrive before the extraterrestrial fleet came. There were scenarios involving light-speed travel, propulsion engines utilizing space curvature to exceed the speed of light, and even arrival through a wormhole. Is there no way for our current technology to detect wormholes? No, Deshu shook his head. The gravity detector had not detected anything abnormal before the appearance of the gravitational wave near Pluto. Other detection methods were also unable to trace the presence of a wormhole. The extraterrestrial fleet is likely more advanced than us. Zhao Yu took a deep breath and said, "If we attack that wormhole now, could we stop them from crossing or even make them perish inside the wormhole?" "It seems time is running out," Deshu said with a serious expression, pointing at the projection. In the image, the gravitational wave had undergone significant changes, transforming from a small vortex into a massive whirlpool that seemed to collapse the space. Suddenly, Zhao Yu widened his eyes. He saw that the large whirlpool was like a giant mouth, continuously spewing rectangular objects outward. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of rectangular objects, each with its own gravitational wave, appeared within the solar system. "Moonbase. Commander, we have a situation," Uncle De exclaimed. In the control center, Uncle De projected a gravity wave detector and pointed at it, saying, "Within the solar system, there's an abnormal gravitational wave." "Where is it?" Zhao Yu asked, feeling a bit anxious. Today was the day the system had predicted, 6 years after his initial time travel, when an extraterrestrial fleet would arrive. Uncle De raised his hand and projected a 3-dimensional map of the solar system once again. "It's near Pluto," he said. Zhao Yu widened his eyes and carefully observed the chaotic lines of the gravitational wave. It was different from previous detections, which were usually uniform. He quickly asked, "What's going on with this gravitational wave?" "Gravity waves from normal celestial bodies remain stable, with only slight changes occurring when they collide with other celestial bodies," Uncle De speculated. "This might be a wormhole." As soon as he mentioned it, Zhao Yu looked at the gravitational wave and indeed, the entire pattern formed by the lines resembled a whirlpool, constantly rotating and expanding. "Commander, please wait a moment." Uncle De closed his eyes and accessed the Earth database with all his might. Pluto was analyzed by scientists in 1840, who predicted its position by analyzing disturbances in Uranus's orbit using Newtonian mechanics. In 1930, it was officially named Pluto and became the 9th largest planet in the solar system. In 2006, it was expelled from the International Astronomical Union due to its inability to clear the region around its orbit. The mass of Earth is 1.7 million times that of all other bodies on its orbit combined, while Pluto is only 7%. In addition, another important reason is that Pluto's center of mass is outside the central body, causing its orbit to be significantly abnormal. Pluto's orbit is highly chaotic, with an inclination of more than 17 degrees compared to the ecliptic plane when compared to the 8 major planets. Moreover, based on mass and orbital calculations, Pluto should have been captured by Neptune and become its moon. However, it remains independent due to gravitational influences of unknown origin. Earth scientists have provided several speculations. One suspects the existence of an unobservable planet X near Neptune, affecting its orbit. Another suggests that Pluto and Neptune have entered a state of superresonance, where gravitational forces are balanced. The third proposes the presence of a wormhole near Pluto. Uncle Da opened his eyes and continued. Based on the current situation, the abnormal gravitational wave near Pluto suggests that something is about to come through the wormhole from the other side. Zhao Yu felt a chill in his heart. He had imagined countless ways the alien fleet might arrive before the extraterrestrial fleet came. There were scenarios involving light-speed travel, propulsion engines utilizing space curvature to exceed the speed of light, and even arrival through a wormhole. Is there no way for our current technology to detect wormholes? No, Uncle Da shook his head. The gravity detector had not detected anything abnormal before the appearance of the gravitational wave near Pluto. Other detection methods were also unable to trace the presence of a wormhole. The extraterrestrial fleet is likely more advanced than us. Zhao Yu took a deep breath and said, if we attack that wormhole now, could we stop them from crossing or even make them perish inside the wormhole? It seems time is running out, Uncle Da said with a serious expression, pointing at the projection. In the image, the gravitational wave had undergone significant changes, transforming from a small vortex into a massive whirlpool that seemed to collapse the space. Suddenly, Zhao Yu widened his eyes. He saw that the large whirlpool was like a giant mouth, continuously spewing rectangular objects outward. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of rectangular objects, each with its own gravitational wave, appeared within the solar system. At the same time, on the gravity detector, the large vortex began to shrink and slowly return to its previous state as a small vortex, eventually disappearing without a trace. There were no more gravitational waves caused by swirling on the entire gravity detector, only the gravitational waves generated by the 100 rectangular celestial bodies remained. As Zhao Yu looked at the 100 gravitational waves resembling warships, his expression turned serious. Alien fleet? Near Pluto. Over 100 warships leaped out of the wormhole. In an instant, as they left the radiation range of the wormhole, the negative energy on the surface of all the warships vanished, replaced by a layer of scorching and radiant energy shields. The anticipated attack did not come, and Morrow breathed a sigh of relief, followed by a hint of disappointment. All warships disperse into a Type 2 defense formation. Instantly, over 100 warships, with Morrow's flagship at the core, formed a spherical defensive chain. Activate the gravity wave detection and scan the galaxy. The Morrow fleet's current detection method was only the fastest gravity wave detection, allowing them to determine the celestial conditions within the entire galaxy in the shortest time possible. Within moments of him speaking, one of his subordinates joyfully reported, Captain Morrow, we have discovered a large number of celestial bodies in this galaxy that resemble space vessels. So there is intelligent life in this galaxy? Uncle Da, are all the spaceships following the plan? Yes, according to your orders, all spaceships outside of Earth and Blue Moon are traveling at a speed of 10 Mach. Zhao Yu nodded slightly and asked, has the spaceship near Jupiter slowed down? It just slowed down. Uncle Da hesitated for a moment and asked anxiously, Commander, is what we're doing really effective? As long as they are intelligent beings, they will definitely have doubts. Buying some time can be helpful, Zhao Yu replied. Then he continued, have you prepared the weapon list for the trade with Yuan City? It's ready. Except for the Star Destroyer cannon, which is difficult to control, all other weapons can be traded. Good. You keep an eye on their every move here, and I will go to Yuan City. Near Pluto. Captain Morrow, the preliminary analysis results are out. Tell me. The NB 1250 galaxy seems to have its origin near the third planet from the star as we move outward. At this third planet, there are celestial canopies and ring defense systems. Based on calculations, The planet has a mass of 5 to 965 trillion meters and a density of 552 trails. The atmospheric pressure is 23. Compared to our home planet, it is about 5 times lighter. However, the beings there are expected to be larger in size. Before the words could fully sink in, a 35-centimeter tall Glen man stood up angrily. Damn giants! Big brother, let me lead the army. Morrow furrowed his brow and scolded, Impatient fool! Know your place and don't act rashly. Startled, Morrow immediately apologized and lowered his head, a look of discontent on his face. Morrow glanced at him and then turned to his subordinate, signaling him to continue. In addition to that, we have also discovered numerous spacecraft from the indigenous civilization. According to gravitational wave measurements, the size of their spacecraft is quite large, with hundreds of ships measuring 10 kilometers in length. However, these ships have extremely slow speeds, only 2 nanogs. As soon as these words came out, Morrow couldn't help but interject, Big brother, let me go. I only need a small team, and I will surely annihilate them. Morrow became furious and slapped him, saying, Have you forgotten the tragedy of Ulua? Morrow was taken aback and quickly admitted his mistake. Now, do you still want to go? If you give me 2 small teams, you fool. Have you not learned anything from the lessons of Ulua? Now, tell me again. Morrow looked around at the low-ranking individuals and felt embarrassed to speak up in front of so many people. Big brother, I know I was wrong. I'll write it 10 times when we return. Now, tell me. Morrow showed no mercy, staring at him with his 3 eyes wide open. Feeling ashamed, Morrow had no choice but to reluctantly recount the story. In the year 8660 of Taixing calendar, the Ulua fleet set out from the star and annihilated 2 civilizations in just 20 years. With only 1 civilization remaining, they obtained the key to return to the mother star. In the year 8695 of Taixing calendar, after searching for 15 years, the Ulua fleet finally found the last civilization. However, to their surprise, the enemy had disguised themselves as a 3rd-level civilization and completely wiped out the attacking forces, leaving only 1 reconnaissance ship that activated a wormhole and escaped nearby. After the reconnaissance ship escaped, it didn't stop for a moment. It used all its means to shake off pursuit. Finally, after 5 years, it arrived at the location where the Ulua fleet had destroyed the first civilization. Another 5 years passed, and the outer fleet of Taixing cautiously made contact with the remnants of the Ulua fleet. That's when the truth was revealed. The lesson of Ulua's demise is that in crucial and critical moments, we must remain calm, steady, and persistent, so as not to fail at the last moment. Morrow nodded and said, Our current situation is remarkably similar to that of the Ulua fleet. Only through success can we become immortalized and return triumphantly to our home planet. As for failure, we will become a lesson in the mouths of others, just like Ulua. Upon hearing this, Morrow didn't take it seriously. Big brother, we are different from Ulua. Our weapons are much stronger now. They have been upgraded for many years, and we have abundant combat experience. Nonsense. Morrow was enraged, his chest heaving. He said in a deep voice, Morrow, I don't think you should go to the front line anymore. In this operation, I'm assigning you to the reconnaissance ship to guard the wormhole. Big brother. Morrow was anxious and wanted to say more, but Morrow silenced him with a reprimand. However, a look of disappointment appeared on Morrow's face. Morrow seemed to hesitate for a moment, then looked at everyone and said, I am the only one who knows the location of Taixing. If we are defeated this time, after shaking off pursuit, the remaining fleet can head to the SN 7751 galaxy. It was the first civilization destroyed by our Morrow fleet. When you arrive there, the outer fleet of Taixing will find a way to contact you. Thinking of the defeat in advance, Morrow, who had only 1 brother, had to consider his brother's future. Shaking his head to clear his mind of distracting thoughts, Morrow turned to his subordinate and said, Continue. What other intelligence do we have? Yes. The subordinate continued. The 5th planet from the star in the stellar system is the largest planet. Prior to our exploration, dozens of ships happened to leave that planet and are now departing at a speed of 2 nanogs. 2 nanogs? Morrow squinted and asked, what makes this planet special? The planet is the largest in the stellar system, with a mass 63 times that of our home planet. It has a rotation speed of 7.4 nanogs. Based on calculations, a spaceship needs to reach a speed of 35 nanogs to leave that planet. 35 nanogs? Morrow touched the antennae on his head and asked, how advanced should be thruster be for a spaceship to reach a speed of 35 nanogs? At least, it would require the combination of electromagnetic technology and third-generation nuclear fusion. In terms of technological classification, it should be considered as a late-stage Level 1 civilization, approaching the level of Level 2 civilization. Heh. Morrow chuckled coldly, turned his head to look at Morrow, and said, do you now understand where you went wrong? Morrow immediately broke out in a cold sweat. A spaceship with a speed of 2 nanogs belonged to a technological level that had just entered the starry sky, not even reaching Level 1 civilization. But a spaceship with a speed of at least 35 nanogs was already a late-stage Level 1 civilization. So, this indigenous civilization is at least a late-stage Level 1 civilization? Morrow paused for a moment, then said seriously, it might even be a disguised civilization? No, this indigenous civilization is pretending to be at a certain level of civilization. They have spaceships capable of reaching a speed of at least 35 nanogs, yet they make all their ships travel at a speed of 2 nanogs. They are truly cunning. Morrow believed that no one could have made so many responses in the short few seconds they emerged from the wormhole. Therefore, this indigenous civilization must have been disguising themselves for a long time, pretending to be weak and deceiving fools like the Yulua fleet. Fortunately, we discovered their spaceships just as they emerged from the 5th planet. Otherwise, we would have fallen into their trap. Morrow was drenched in sweat, feeling like he had just reclaimed his life. Involuntarily, he related this experience to the tragedy of the Yulua fleet and couldn't help but ask, boss, should we retreat? No, finding a spacefaring intelligent civilization is too difficult. We've finally encountered one, and we can't let it slip away. Continue the reconnaissance and find out the details of this indigenous civilization. If they are too strong, we can retreat later. A new alien civilization has been detected. Do you want to spend 10,000 technology points to view all the technology trees of the Morrow fleet? Does the system have this function? Zhao Yu was about to go to Yuan City for trading when he received a prompt from the system as soon as he stepped out of the door. At the same time, he learned the name of the fleet that came through the wormhole. He couldn't help but ask, if I spend 10,000 technology points to view the technology trees of this Morrow fleet, will it count towards the base's upgrade experience? All technology points spent will be recorded in the experience bar. Zhao Yu hurried back and informed Uncle Da about the situation. Commander, it's worth spending these 10,000 technology points. Knowing the enemy enables you to fight 100 battles without defeat. Zhao Yu also thought the same and nodded, saying, okay, after I trade with Yuan City, I'll check the technology trees of this Morrow fleet. As they were talking, there was a sudden change in the projection of the 100 warships. 2 warships separated from the fleet, heading in different directions, one towards the solar system and the other away from it. What's going on? Zhao Yu asked in haste. I'll calculate it immediately. Uncle Da quickly began calculating based on the movement of the 2 warships in the gravitational wave detector. After a moment, Uncle Da's face turned serious. Commander, these 2 spacecraft are extremely fast, with speeds reaching 12 million kilometers per hour. They are that fast? Zhao Yu was shocked. This speed was 20 times faster than the ship he was on with the Hall thruster system. Can you figure out where these 2 warships are going? The warship heading towards the solar system, judging from its trajectory, is headed directly to Earth. And the warship moving away from the solar system. Uncle Da looked puzzled and said, I expanded the range of the gravitational wave detector and found something resembling a spacecraft at a distance of 22.9 billion kilometers from us. What is it? Zhao Yu was surprised. Could there be another civilization within the solar system? Commander, please wait a moment. I'll check Earth's database to see if it's related to them. After 15 minutes, Uncle Da opened his eyes and said, It's Voyager 1. It was a ship launched by Earth towards the outer solar system in 1977. Its system contains 55 languages of Earth, its cultural history, records, and images, including information about the planets in the solar system, human characteristics, and the technological level of human civilization, and so on. Zhao Yu furrowed his brow. If aliens found this, their secrets would be exposed. Upon reflection, he realized that he had no means to prevent it. With their ship's speed, how long will it take them to catch up with Voyager 1? Most of the ships in the Morrow fleet are staying near the wormhole, about 7 billion kilometers away from us, and about 15.9 billion kilometers away from Voyager 1. In about 55 days, they will be able to capture Voyager 1. Similarly, the ship heading towards us will arrive in about 24 days. Although the 8 planets appear to be aligned, the farther they are from each other, the greater the distance. Even with the most advanced hull propulsion ship, it would take Zhao Yu 480 days to reach the wormhole near Pluto. 24 days, 55 days. We still have time. Zhao Yu breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the projection. The remaining Morrow fleet near the wormhole was still in a defensive formation, without any movement. It seems that they have only dispatched reconnaissance warships. Commander, is it possible that they think our technology is too backward and only one warship is enough to destroy us? Zhao Yu shuddered and nodded. We cannot rule out that possibility. Keep a close watch and keep all defense systems activated to intercept enemy attacks at any time. His technology level was currently at 1.99, and even with the ship's speed pushed to the limit using the hull propulsion system, it was still 20 times slower than the Morrow fleet's ships. But the enemy's technology level was certainly higher than 2.00. As for whether it had reached 3.00, Zhao Yu didn't know and would need to obtain their technology tree to find out. Uncle Da, you stay here and keep an eye on things. I will go and trade with Yuan City to acquire technology points early so we can find out the purpose of this incoming ship. Although the gravitational wave detector could only detect the size of celestial bodies, it would be enough. By obtaining the technology tree and comparing the sizes and shapes of the different types of Morrow fleet ships, they could determine whether the vessel that's coming for them was an assault type or a scout type. Yuan City had a population of 1 million. After Zhao Yu made it clear that they wouldn't participate in management work, Earth dispatched 1,000 official personnel to accompany them. 1,000 people managing 1 million wasn't quite enough, but the Earth Federation was afraid that too many accompanying people would cause discontent among the Moon faction. They planned to recruit more personnel from the general population if needed. Zhao Yu had thought that the position of city lord would be held by someone middle-aged if not elderly, but to his surprise, Earth sent a young man named Chen Xiao. After the completion of Yuan City, Zhao Yu relocated Zhang Tao and the 88 people he had brought to the city. During these 3 days, Zhang Tao had secretly contacted Chen Xiao and a person named Zhuge Tao. This confirmed his suspicion that Zhang Tao's arrival on the moon was not because of love, but rather an undercover mission. However, Zhao Yu didn't pay too much attention to it. Although the electromagnetic wave disturbance from Earth had ended, he didn't open communication systems between the two sides. Except for himself, others couldn't communicate between Earth and the moon, even if they had projection touch watches. Even if Chen Xiao, Zhang Tao, and Zhuge Tao had any intelligence, it would be difficult to transmit it back to Earth. Especially after the arrival of the Morrow fleet, Zhao Yu tightened radio control even more to prevent the leakage of too much information and exposing their secrets. He flew to the Lord's mansion by ship and landed. Chen Xiao hurriedly came out to welcome him. Mr. Zhao, what brings you here? Zhao Yu casually said, as the city lord of Yuan City, your defense forces seem to be a bit weak. Chen Zhao's face brightened, and he quickly said, thank you for your concern, Brother Yu. I have been worried about this matter as well. I wonder if you can help? Brother Yu was a strangely close way to call Zhao Yu when they barely knew each other. Zhao Yu noticed, but he didn't react too much to it. Zhao Yu nodded slightly and gave a description all the tradable ships and weapons, except for the Star Destroyer cannon. After listening, Chen Zhao's face was filled with shock. He couldn't believe it, but he reacted quickly and quickly expressed his gratitude. Of course, I can't give it to you for free. How about this? Each item will be counted as 1 blue moon dollar. At this moment, Getting more technology points was paramount. Zhao Yu didn't mind spending a bit more Blue Moon dollars. Zhao Yu had also tried asking the system if it was possible to trade through a loan, but he found out that technology points could only be returned when the loan was repaid. So he gave up on that idea. One Blue Moon coin? Chen Xiao felt extremely uneasy and couldn't quite grasp Zhao Yu's intentions. However, the opportunity to closely observe and study alien weapons and warships was not only rare but fleeting. Regardless of Zhao Yu's motives and conspiracies, he had to accept. Soon, Zhao Yu handed over all the different types of ships that could return technology points on an open space. Of course, none of the warships were equipped with weapons. The traded weapons were also provided with the minimum power, most of which were unable to be used without subsequent energy support. There was no need to worry about these people causing trouble or attacking the base once they got their hands on the weapons. In addition, the entire Yuan city was protected by his security team. Even if Chen Xiao and the others obtained these items, they wouldn't be able to transmit them back to Earth. At the moment the transaction ended, Zhao Yu's technology points were credited to his account, totaling 18,500 points. With his goal achieved, Zhao Yu didn't stay long. He hurriedly left and headed towards the base. So what kind of technology does the Morrow fleet possess? Do you want to spend 10,000 technology points to view the Morrow fleet's technology tree? Yes. Base, Level 1. Experience, 73, 800/100, 000. Technology points, 8,511. In the system interface, a list of Morrow fleet's technology products appeared as expected. Zhao Yu quickly clicked on it, and the first thing he looked at was the 7 fundamental technologies of the Morrow fleet. Mathematics, 2.65. Logistic, 2.60. Astronomy, 2.69. Planetary science, 2.66. Physics, 2.68. Chemistry, 2.70. Life science, 2.57. A Level 2 civilization. Zhao Yu breathed a sigh of relief. The overall technological level of the Morrow fleet was around 2.65, which was considered the mid-stage of a Level 2 civilization. Then, he began to examine each technology in detail. He found that this list was not as detailed as his own exchange list, and most of the technological products overlapped. It seems that I can only see how advanced the fleet is, and not how advanced the civilization that built it is. Zhao Yu didn't dwell on it too much and carefully examined the list, eliminating some irrelevant and overlapping technologies. As a result, he discovered several technologies that far surpassed their own. Among them, the most crucial one was energy utilization technology. A Level 2 civilization. It turns out they don't rely on nuclear fusion anymore. Zhao Yu had speculated before whether there would be a 4th-generation nuclear fusion or new technologies after the 3rd generation. Now it seemed that new technologies had replaced nuclear fusion. Particle singularity variation accelerates the collision of particles, creating a prototype Type 2 singularity, utilizing the collision of matter and antimatter to release tremendous energy. Particle singularity variation, the next generation of energy utilization, actually involves creating black holes? Zhao Yu was shocked beyond belief. He had considered countless possibilities in the fields of quantum physics, antimatter, and more, but he had never dared to think in the direction of black holes. Unexpectedly, a Level 2 civilization was able to utilize black holes. After careful examination, he realized that he had misunderstood. This black hole was not the same as the black hole he had imagined. It was an extremely tiny, invisible micro-black hole, part of the quantum realm. Using a special particle, it accelerated and collided, creating a micro-black hole. Then, utilizing the characteristic of this level of black hole being unable to devour everything and instead releasing immense energy, it was used to generate energy. Purely in terms of released energy, the same mass of fuel can provide 20 times more energy compared to the 3rd-generation nuclear fusion. Zhao Yu was shocked. If this energy generator could be applied to other fields, the possibility would be limitless. He quickly returned to his original intention of consulting the Morrow fleet's information. He flipped to the spaceship list and indeed found a highly efficient and powerful propulsion system. Particle singularity propulsor accelerates the collision of particles, creating a Type 1 black hole formation state. Instead of releasing gravitational pull, it releases particles to its surroundings to create kinetic energy. So they did apply this technology to their propulsion system. Zhao Yu keenly discovered that in this propulsion system description, it mentioned the Type 1 black hole. Could it be that the first thing they researched was the particle singularity propulsor? After careful examination, Zhao Yu began to understand a little. According to the description, the black hole formed by the Type 1 state was even smaller, and the energy it released couldn't be utilized. It could only be used as a propulsion system. The Type 2 prototype black hole, on the other hand, was an upgraded technology that could create larger black holes. By utilizing the characteristic that it would collapse and release tremendous energy before forming, it could be used as an energy source. After examining the energy technology and propulsion technology, Zhao Yu flipped to the weapons list. Most of the weapons listed were already in the base, such as lasers, ray guns, and planet-destroying cannons. They were more powerful than the ones he had, however, and had greater destructive force. The only thing that went beyond his imagination was the ability to turn micro-black hole technology into weapons. Particle singularity collapse bomb accelerates the collision of particles, creating a Type 3 collapsed black hole. By introducing protons, it detonates and causes material collapse within a certain range. According to the description, even though the Morrow fleet had reached the mid to late stage of Level 2 technology, they still couldn't create real black holes. The micro-black holes they created couldn't be seen with the naked eye, and they couldn't be formed fully, becoming a self-contained system capable of devouring universal matter. So, if the micro-black hole is not continuously collided and refueled, it will naturally disappear? In the description of the weapons, it mentioned a special type of proton that, when the micro-black hole was in a state of natural collapse, could cause a certain kind of transformation. According to the description, this transformation was inspired by the annihilation of matter and antimatter. After countless attempts, they finally succeeded. Zhao Yu gained a rough understanding of the principle behind the particle singularity collapse bomb and hurriedly skimmed through the other details, focusing on the section about its power. The further he read, the more grim his expression became. After finishing the entire description, he turned pale. The power of this particle singularity collapse bomb is astonishing. According to the description, the particle singularity collapse bomb had two variations. One was the collision process. During the collision process, a special proton is added to the mini black hole before it was about to collapse. This would, in turn, effectively create a pseudo-black hole that lasts 1 second. It was called a pseudo-black hole because it could only exist for 1 second. Within that second, it possessed the power of a true black hole, capable of devouring everything. The swallowing power of a black hole was incredibly strong. If it were a black hole in the universe, it could consume several planets within a second. Fortunately, the micro-black hole created by the particle singularity collapse bomb was too tiny and inherently limited in its range. Within 1 second, it could only devour all matter within a volume of 1 million cubic meters. The spherical space had a volume of 1 million cubic meters, which translated to a diameter of only 124 meters. Its range was not long at all. However, what truly frightened Zhao Yu was the second phase. When the retroreflection ended, the black hole would collapse and unleash terrifying energy. This energy was powerful enough to completely destroy a planet. Of course, in terms of sheer power, a planet-destroying cannon was about the same, if not better than the particle singularity collapse comb. But a star destroyer cannon required energy accumulation, charging, and firing. It also followed a specific trajectory and could be intercepted and detonated prematurely by laser defense systems. The particle singularity collapse bomb was different. It had an incredibly fast activation speed, taking just 1 second from proton injection to collapse and detonation. It was difficult to defend against and almost impossible to stop. However, this was both an advantage and a drawback. The particle singularity collapse bomb was not easy to shape and couldn't be fired from a barrel like other weapons. It could only be carried by spaceships and detonated at close range near the enemy. Of course, purely in terms of power, the particle singularity collapse bomb alone wouldn't make Zhao Yu grimace. What was truly terrifying was the fact that the black hole created by the bomb could shift between 3 different forms. Whether it was the particle singularity propulsor that served as the spaceship's power source, or the particle singularity variation that acted as an energy source, both could transform into the particle singularity collapse bomb in critical moments. According to the spaceship list, almost all enemy ships were equipped with at least 2 devices capable of creating micro-black holes. One set was used as a propulsion system, while the other provided energy. Even if they were defeated, they could still launch a suicide attack by activating the propulsion system's black hole energy. But that was not what truly terrified Zhao Yu. It was the mothership. On the mothership, there was a massive device capable of creating the Type 4 form of the particle black hole. If this form of black hole were to detonate, the resulting energy could cause the displacement of all planets within the galaxy. They could either plunge into stars, drift away from star systems, or enter the desolate universe. But in any case, it would be a catastrophe of epic proportions. Zhao Yu recalled his conversation with Uncle Da after the blue moon's orbit had shifted slightly. He remembered asking if there was a way to move the blue moon. The answer he received was that he would need to create 1 million specially designed third-generation nuclear fusion planetary engines and spend 100 years slowing down the blue moon. The conclusions derived were even less impressive than the technology depicted in that movie. After all, the movie was based on science fiction and used fusion recombination technology, which released energy stronger than third-generation nuclear fusion. The instantaneous displacement of a planet, even if the blue moon miraculously avoided falling into the sun and instead flew into space, would still cause the atmosphere to rupture, mountains and rivers to crumble, and billions of lives to perish. After reading the description of the mothership, Zhao Yu's expression grew despondent, and his eyes gradually dimmed. Having the particle singularity Type 4 form on the mothership, even if they're defeated, they can drag the entire solar system down with them. At the base in Xiadu, has Zhao Yu arrived yet?
No.
Colonel Chu shook his head. Ever since he took those 1 million immigrants, he hasn't come back. The resources from Chang'an Blue Moon New District, have they not been taken away?
No.
What's going on? In the past, the resources were collected every day, but now it has been 17 days, and still no warship has come to retrieve them. They had been trying to contact Zhao Yu for these past few days, but they had received no response. They also attempted to communicate with the robots on Earth, but again, they received no response. Could there be some trouble on the moon? It's possible. Colonel Chu pondered for a moment and said, when Xin Xiao and the others left, did they bring any signal devices? Is there any news from them?
No.
Senator Zhou shook his head and said, is it possible that this signal device malfunctioned, causing the moon to react this way? It's unlikely. The signal device is hidden in a mobile phone and only activates when connected to our Earth UMTS system. In order for Chen Xiao to transmit messages from the moon, the expert team carefully studied and discovered a method to avoid detection by the moon's extraterrestrial beings. They hid a specially designed signal device within a mobile phone and brought it to the moon. After obtaining intelligence, it could be stored in the signal device and placed on ships and robots traveling between the moon and Earth. At the moment when the signal device, accompanied by the robots and ships, crossed the sky and entered Earth, it would be received by the Xiadu base. Of course, the experts were able to come up with this strategy mainly because of Zhao Yu's previous trade involving the Skynet system and the chip. After research, it was found that Skynet was indeed powerful, capable of infiltrating Earth's network and providing global, uninterrupted coverage. However, it also had a flaw that was not considered a significant disadvantage. The thing was, the Skynet system was too powerful, so powerful that it would miss out signals that were sent with less advanced devices. It was similar to modern people having smartphones and projection touchwatches, where communication could be done with a single press of a button, eliminating the need for the cumbersome transmission of information through telegrams, as was done 100 years ago. After studying the Skynet chip, the Earthlings discovered this situation and found a way to transmit information without detection by Skynet. Could it be that they haven't placed the signal device on the ship yet? Or perhaps the ships or robots that secretly carry the signal device haven't arrived on Earth? Colonel Chu shook his head. We can only wait and see for now. Currently, we must ensure that everything else is done properly. Has the program for diversion been prepared? Of course, Tens of thousands of top programmers from around the world have collaborated on it, so there shouldn't be any problems. It would be best to start it sooner, so we can take advantage of the confusion. In order to ensure that the information in the signal device could be transmitted without attracting Skynet's attention, the Xiaodu base made a lot of preparations in secret. They linked the wireless signals generated by the 8.5 billion netizens every day. In this way, even if the contents of the signal device were exposed, the moon aliens would not suspect anything because the information was too normal, as they were the same type of signals being transmitted back and forth in trillions every day. Senator Zhou nodded and added, words like moon, spaceship, extraterrestrial, cosmic federation, and so on are likely to be included in the intelligence Chen Xiao and the others may transmit. The expert team suggests increasing the frequency of refreshing the keys associated with these words. This would make it more secure. Colonel Chu hesitated for a moment and asked, how can we do that? Senator Zhou smiled and said, the information known to us should closely align with what the public knows. Are you suggesting that we publicly acknowledge the existence of extraterrestrial beings?
Yes.
Senator Zhou nodded. Only in this way can we increase the frequency of key refreshing. So even if Chen Xiao and the others transmit messages back, they won't be discovered. Yuan City. Chen Xiao, Zhang Tao, and Zhuge Tao sat on the top floor of a towering skyscraper, sipping wine and scanning a certain direction, while communicating in coded language. Why is Zhao Yu behaving like this? I don't know. For the past 2 weeks, he has been indulging in pleasures, living a carefree life. There hasn't been a shortage of women by his side. Sometimes, he acts recklessly, attracting attention. Even the city guards can't control him. Chen Xiao, as the city lord, don't you have any ideas? Chen Xiao smiled wryly and shook his head. Don't joke. Although I am the city lord of Yuan City, within the lunar base staff system, I am only at GT level, and I was even promoted out of turn. There is a big difference between me and those who were promoted over time. How can a GI manage a D? Moreover, Zhao Yu has considerable authority, and he has many combat robots accompanying him. TSK, this guy has incredible stamina. In the past 2 weeks, he must have had at least 80 women entering his mansion, if not 100. Zhuge Tao exclaimed, his eyes filled with envy. Well, if you had as much money as he does, you could do the same, Zhang Tao said with a faint smile. When it comes to spending blue moon dollars, this guy doesn't even blink. I suspect he might be embezzling. Zhuge Tao shook his head. Chen Xiao frowned and interrupted. Enough about that. Haven't you noticed that Zhao Yu's behavior seems off? The two men froze for a moment and quickly became serious. After pondering for a moment, Zhuge Tao spoke. It seems excessively unrestrained, as if he is trying to kill himself. Following this line of thought, Chen Xiao speculated. Is it possible that something has happened on the moon? Like what? Zhuge Tao's eyelid twitched as he thought of a possibility and quickly said, perhaps the extraterrestrial spaceships on the moon are about to be repaired, and he knows his time is running out? The three exchanged glances, feeling that this possibility was highly likely. Chen Xiao hurriedly said, Zhang Tao among us, only you can go out. You must transmit this news back. I know. Zhang Tao nodded solemnly and said, in these past few days, I have been trying to install signal devices on the damaged robots, and they haven't been discovered. It is confirmed that we can bug these robots without being found out. In 3 hours, it will be time for the routine maintenance of spaceship number 17,405,469.1. We'll find an opportunity to place it. You have lost 3 times already. Go and find someone else to take your place. In a private villa in Yuan City, Zhao Yu was playing a game with several women. Just then, someone approached from a distance. Zhao Yu caught sight of them, and his smile faded. He casually transferred some blue moon dollars to the women and said lightly, you can all leave now. The women were smart enough to quickly get up and leave. Zhao Yu put down the playing cards and walked over to greet the person. Uncle Da, why didn't you project directly here? Are you calm now, Commander? Zhao Yu remained non-committal and asked, well, what's the matter? Right now, it's not a dead end. Our spaceship is 20 times slower than theirs. Even if we wanted to escape, we wouldn't be able to do it now. However, If we can strengthen our technology, acquire the particle black hole propulsion system, we can completely escape to the depths of the universe. Zhao Yu shook his head slightly and said, even if you didn't come, I would have to return to the base. The Morrow fleet? Even if I die, I will kill them first. On January 9, 2029, TTDS, a famous hacker organization on Earth, released a large number of photos and videos on their official website. The footage was taken between September 21st and October 3rd, 2028, precisely the time when White Rabbit number 9 went missing on the moon. The photos and videos captured the entire process of White Rabbit number 9 being captured by the Xiaotian robot. In addition, there were also images of various types of probes launched by the Earth Federation on the moon being captured. Aliens are on the moon. The news shook the world. Could this be fake? It's just a publicity stunt. Where would aliens come from on the moon? Maybe it's edited. Come on, stop kidding. Do you know what this hacker organization has done before? TTDS, out of the top 10 officially covered-up scandals, they were responsible for 8 of them. I don't know about this TTDS organization, but I'm a video editor. I just watched the video frame by frame, and there are no signs of editing. At first, most people were skeptical, thinking it might be a prank or someone trying to gain attention. However, as more and more people learned about TTDS and realized that this organization never made baseless claims, the exposure they provided always had evidence to back it up. Furthermore, many video editors confirmed that there were no signs of editing in the videos. With the support of multiple sources, more and more people began to believe that aliens truly existed. More and more discussions about this began to rise. Are the aliens on the moon here to destroy Earth? That's impossible. Weren't the 3 astronauts from White Rabbit number 9 returned? Exactly. If they wanted to destroy Earth, they would have done it 3.5 months ago. Hey, do you think Blue Moon Technology Company is related to the aliens? It's highly likely. Every product they release is so advanced that it's hard to believe it was developed by Earth itself. See, I told you earlier that Earth couldn't have developed fusion power plants so quickly. I thought you were the one who said to have more confidence in Earth's technology. As heated as the discussions were, most of the people talking were no professionals in the field. Many people focused their attention on the Federation, waiting for an official statement. For 2 consecutive days, the alien topic remained hot, and countless media outlets crowded around the Federation, trying to extract some information. In some overseas regions, protests even started, demanding the truth and the chance to meet the aliens. People became restless, and they were too bothered to even work. They just wanted to know whether aliens existed or not. Many sought various ways to find out and inquire about the truth, causing the Earth Federation's hotline and official website to almost crash due to the overwhelming traffic. Under the circumstances, on the 3rd day, the Earth Federation could no longer hold back and held a press conference to address the alien-related questions worldwide. The conference was scheduled in Chang'an, and on that day, plane tickets, maglev bus tickets, and various forms of transportation were sold out in no time. Some even rode shared bicycles, rushing across multiple cities just to witness history with their own eyes. In a matter of half a day, nearly tens of millions of people flooded into Chang'an, turning the entire city into a congested sea of people. Those who couldn't make it to the scene still paid full attention to the conference all day long. Finally, under the watchful eyes of the world, the press conference began. There were 2 representatives, Colonel Chu and Senator Miller.
Hello, Colonel Chu.
Is it true that there are aliens on the moon? The first journalist asked directly. For this interview, the well-known journalists present had discussed in advance and carefully selected their questions to ensure they could obtain as much information as possible with the fewest questions. The first question would determine whether there was a need to continue asking further questions. At this moment, the world came to a standstill. Everyone either sat at home watching TV or knelt on their beds staring at their phones, not daring to blink, all focused on the conference. Colonel Chu nodded and said solemnly, "It is true." The world trembled. Everyone was filled with excitement. Some even took off their clothes on the spot and ran through the streets, cheering with joy. However, some people felt anxious, worrying that the arrival of aliens was not good news for Earth. The second journalist followed up, Is Blue Moon Technology Company established by aliens? This question would determine whether the aliens were friendly or hostile to Earth. The jubilant crowd realized the seriousness of the question, and they stopped their actions, held their breath, and stared intently. Senator Miller grinned and nodded. That's right. All the products of Blue Moon Technology Company come from the moon. Hooray! Countless journalists on site shouted, and all the people watching the live broadcast around the world breathed a sigh of relief and joined in the cheering. The two most important questions received affirmative answers. This meant that they pretty much decided what the other questions were going to be. Every time the two senators answered a question, people listening would react in a surprised and excited manner. The press conference ended, and the live broadcast was cut off, but the global discussion about aliens was just beginning. Aren't aliens amazing? They have done nothing but good to people of Earth. Yes, so much technology has changed Earth and changed us too. Blue Moon was originally a small asteroid that would destroy Blue Star, but the extraterrestrials saved us. Thank you, aliens. Thank you, aliens. If you don't mind, I would like to marry one of them. What do aliens look like? Are there any pictures? I don't know. The Earth Federation hasn't released any. Do you think Zhao Yu might be an alien?
Impossible.
Zhao Yu is just a representative of Blue Moon Technology Company. It is said that Zhao Yu was one of the first chosen by the aliens and was given an important role. That's why the aliens came to trade with us. I'm also named Zhao Yu. Why didn't the aliens choose me? I heard that Zhao Yu went missing right after a breakup. Could that be the aliens' criteria for selecting people? Lu Longlong, I'm breaking up with you right now. During this press conference, the Earth Federation did not reveal everything. They only provided some basic information. They also explained that the extraterrestrials established Blue Moon Technology Company to trade technology products for resources. At the same time, they introduced a new currency to the world, a currency that became the most valuable as soon as it appeared, Blue Moon Dollar. It is said that our Federation would need to spend 300 Blue Moon Dollar, equivalent to resources worth 1 million Federation coins, for one robot. 300 Blue Moon coins, which equals 1 million Federation coins. That's too much. Oh my God, I just remembered something. Will the salaries of the 1 million people immigrating to the moon be paid in Blue Moon Dollar? Definitely. They are said to be hired by Blue Moon Technology Company, so they will definitely be paid in Blue Moon Dollar. Ugh, I wish I went. I had already passed the screening to go to the moon, but my mom wouldn't let me. Are there any new immigration methods? I also want to live on the moon, not for the Blue Moon Dollars, but to contribute to the development of the moon. Hey, when will Blue Moon Technology Company open a dedicated tourist route from Earth to the moon? I don't know how fast their spaceships are, but even if they make one trip per week, I would love to go and explore. Besides the discussions about aliens online, there were also many discussions about Zhao Yu. Many people envied him for being chosen by the aliens to represent them. There were also quite a few people who tried doing what Zhao Yu did. They broke up with their partner. According to an incomplete statistic from a marriage agency, the number of people canceling their memberships that day reached 1 million. Amidst this overwhelming news, an inconspicuous piece of information silently arrived at the Xiaodu base along with a spaceship traversing the sky. 100 million kilometers away from the orbit of Mars. Stop. Within the solar system, one scout ship stopped at a distance of 100 million kilometers from the orbit of Mars. This distance was predetermined by Captain Morrow before their departure. At 100 million kilometers away, there was a layer of laser defense system. Considering the power of Morrow's laser defense system, this distance was the maximum range the scout ship could withstand. The laser moved at an incredibly fast speed. If the scout ship were to be destroyed at this distance, it would send a signal. The laser defense system of the native star system surrounding the 4 stars was stronger than that of the Morrow fleet. The strength of a laser defense system was determined by its power, not its speed. After all, both systems emitted rays at the speed of light. The farther the distance, the weaker the power. When talking about waging warfare in the cosmos, defense was more important than offense. Captain Sear, are we going to die? Inside the spacecraft, a Glenarian said nervously. I don't know. Sear shook his head. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have worked so hard to enter the starry sky for the sake of so-called glory. The strong were respected when it came to star battles, while the weak had no rights to reproduce and were mocked as caretakers of the offspring of the strong. Send a signal to Captain Morrow.
Yes.
Although they would be detected by the gravity wave detector on the other side, and their location would be known, they still had to follow the proper procedures. The scout ship remained stationary in the starry sky without making any additional movements. It seemed to be waiting for something. Time passed slowly, and the tension grew among the crew as they occasionally reported numbers. Finally, after 300 seconds of Earth time had passed, Seer spoke up. Activate the energy shield. A transparent shield appeared outside the scout ship, but the Glenarians inside remained uneasy and even more nervous than before. Seer walked slowly to a window and looked toward Mars. When 330 seconds of Earth time had passed, he gave the order, maximize the power of the shield. After 3 seconds, the expected impact did not come. Several more seconds passed, and Seer's tense heart finally relaxed. Move quickly. He didn't need to say it, as the scout ship swiftly flickered and left its previous position. We survived again. The entire crew cheered. At this distance, the laser struck at the speed of light. It would take a maximum of 333 seconds of Earth time to reach the scout ship. Although they were on a scout ship, they couldn't prevent laser attacks. The detection waves moved at the speed of light, so even if they detected a laser attack, it would arrive simultaneously, making the best way to prevent laser attacks to keep moving. As long as they didn't stop within 300,000 kilometers, there was a good chance of avoiding the lasers. But they were just a scout ship, which was usually the first to be destroyed. This time, they couldn't even move and had to rely on their lives to deliver the message to the Morrow fleet. Fortunately, the enemy didn't attack. It was unclear whether it was due to insufficient power or a lack of desire to attack. Moonbase. Zhao Yu looked at the stationary warship on the gravity wave detector and felt puzzled. Why did they stop? I don't know. How far is it from our first defense line? 100 million kilometers. Uncle De tried different sets of data to find any significance in the distance of 100 million kilometers, but he couldn't find anything. Frowning, Zhao Yu was also puzzled. After waiting for a minute and seeing no movement from the other side, she couldn't help but ask, could they be attacking us? Commander, judging by the shape of the Morrow fleet's ship exchange list, this vessel should be just a scout ship with limited offensive capabilities. Then, if they detonate a micro-black hole at this distance, could they pose a threat to us? They can't. Uncle De shook his head. The distance is too far. The two of them observed for quite a while. After 5 minutes, the Morrow scout ship finally moved. In a blink of an eye, it moved 3,300 kilometers in the same direction. At the same time, Uncle Da's calculations finally matched. Commander, I've discovered something. Tell me. The enemy scout ship remained stationary for 333 seconds. This time period coincides with the time it takes for our first defense line's laser to reach their position. Zhao Yu furrowed her brow and began to contemplate the significance of this time period. Although the moon base's gravity wave detector was called a detector, it had never emitted or received any signals from space. It relied solely on ripples in space-time to detect celestial bodies. Gravity waves, though referred to as waves, couldn't be visually observed in any way. The ability to detect gravitational waves from celestial bodies was the result of calculating various data such as the universal gravitational constant, the moment of inertia of celestial bodies, the speed of light, and distance. The only variable was spatial distortion. Space was like a mesh, and when a finger was pressed down, it wouldn't create a cylinder, but a cone. Every celestial body was like a finger, leaving a trace in the vast cosmic mesh, regardless of whether it had moved or not. That's why the gravity wave detector could calculate the changes in celestial bodies within the entire solar system in a way that surpasses the speed of light, almost synchronously. Of course, the closer the distance, the better the effect. If it crosses star systems, the perception of spatial distortion decreases, making it harder to observe. It's like poking a big net with a finger. In the central area, the distortion is greater, providing more information. At the edges, there are only slight changes that are difficult to calculate. 333 seconds. exactly the time it takes for our laser to hit them. Zhao Yu had a sudden realization and said, "Could this be a test?" "A test?"
Unkle da was konfuset.
"The enemy wants to test the strength of our laser defense system." He quickly asked, "Uncle Da, how far can our laser defense system destroy our scout ship if it doesn't move?" After careful calculations, Uncle Da replied, "If the scout ship doesn't move, it should be able to destroy it within a range of 4 to 58 million kilometers. Even if the energy shield is maximized, it won't be able to withstand it." Two variables, the energy level of the laser and the shield level, both rely on energy technology. Zhao Yu nodded and said seriously, "So, this action from the other side is a test based on their data? Are you saying their laser defense system can destroy a motionless scout ship with a fully charged energy shield within a range of 100 million kilometers? Commander, have we exposed our weaknesses?" Although Uncle Da could instantly calculate terrifying amounts of data, it didn't have much effect in this situation.
No.
Zhao Yu shook her head. "The enemy can think that our laser defense system is weak or that we don't want to attack them. They might even think we're luring them in. Now that the enemy is strong and we are weak, we can only create deceptions continuously to deceive them and buy time until we're ready for battle." Zhao Yu's brain was working at an unprecedented overload. He finally spoke after a while, "Increase the speed of all the ships that were meant to be displayed to the Morrow fleet to 135 Mach.